in God's sight, meaning the way He sees you, you're going to struggle to experience love. You might experience it in a moment. Like, you may have heard what I said on Sunday and connect with it, but the next day you'll walk out, you'll feel condemned, and all of a sudden you won't feel loved. And that's why Paul said in Ephesians that God predestined us in Christ in order that we could stand before Him holy and without blame in love. Meaning the key to being able to experience God's love for you is for you to see yourself how He sees you.
Yes.
And the way He sees you is set apart unto Him, meaning you come from Him, you're His child, you're from His loins, and He sees you as without blame. He sees you spotless. You're all fair to me. Like Connie's doing the greatest love story ever, and I think she's doing Song of Songs. And the guy tells the woman, "Thou art all fair to me, my love." You see, and if you can't know that that's what's in God's heart when He looks at you, even as you're trying to tell Him about all your spots and your blemishes, and He's telling you, "Thou art all fair to me, my love." If you can't understand that or be persuaded of that in your heart, you'll struggle to feel His love for you. And that ties into what God had to do in the gospel. Man couldn't see His love for them. The reason they couldn't see His love for them is because they couldn't see that He didn't see them full of spots and blemishes. Even though they were clothed in death, He still saw them as all fair, my love. In fact, the woman in Song of Songs is telling the guy, "Don't you see my skin, man? It's been burnt under the sun. It's all dark and blemished and jacked up. How could I be all fair to you?" It's basically a sign and a wonder, like, "Look at this death I have. What do you mean I'm all fair to you?" You know, and so man couldn't believe, they couldn't see what God saw. And so God predestined us to be clothed in the glory and honor that was manifest in Christ. Because when we see ourselves and we see we're the same as God, we begin to be able to understand why He loves us. We see what He sees. And then we experience love. And so that's what God's come to do. He didn't come to do something where He's no longer angry with us. He didn't come to do something to alleviate His desire to punish. He came to do something so man could experience His love for them. Right? That's what He came to do. I mean, imagine when you're busy trying to love somebody and they can't see that you love them. All you're doing all the time is trying to persuade them how much you love them. But every time, all they can think of is how you're against them.
Wow.
You know how frustrating that could be? I mean, we can just look at in a marriage relationship. Imagine the wife is all the time trying to love the husband, but the husband can't ever see it. And not only can he not see that she loves him, but he all the time thinks that she's against him. Imagine how frustrating that would be for the woman. Because the man only thinks bad of himself. And so he can never believe the wife actually sees good in him. And he'll only ever think she's condemning him or coming against him. That's how it was with us and God. And God said, "I got to do something to bring forth a persuasion that they can behold what I behold in them." And so He said, well, they're so beautiful and glorious, the only thing that could accurately express the beauty I see in them is if I come myself. So He becomes a human being so that we, in beholding God in human flesh, begin to behold in God in human flesh what He beholds in us in human flesh. Right? And so now we can't see it with our eyes, so He shows up. Behold, Jesus is the image of what God beheld in human beings. And now we could see what God saw in us all along. And then we begin seeing ourselves in Jesus. And so we begin seeing ourselves what God always saw in us. And then we can start feeling His love. Right?